Pretty cool, isn't it? I recorded this while I was over at the beach. Looks amazing. I like it quite a bit.
You can find some very cool outdoors pictures I took on my Tumblr page, so feel free to check it out if you would like to. What were we talking about again?
And today we are going to talk about turtles and tortoises. So let's get into the video. Turtles are known to have originated around 230 million years ago, during the Triassic period. But what exactly they evolved from is still debated. Now you may be thinking, what's the difference between a turtle and a tortoise? Well, all tortoises are in fact turtles. That is, they belong to the order Testudines or Chelonia. Reptiles having bodies encased in a bony shell, but not all turtles are tortoises. The first major difference between a turtle and a tortoise is where they live. Turtles live or spend the majority of their time in water, either in lakes, rivers, or oceans, and so on. Tortoises, however, live on land, usually in forests, grasslands, and deserts. But Cosmic, if tortoises are turtles, why not just call all turtle-like creatures turtle? Well, that's because if the animal you're referring to is a tortoise, some wise ass is going to correct you every time. Turtles and tortoises come in many forms, and thanks to millions of years worth of adaptation and evolution, they have achieved many unique and cool traits. Today we will be talking about some of the coolest and most interesting turtles, even though there are more turtles than just the ones that will be mentioned in this video. Starting with the green sea turtle. The green sea turtle is the largest hard-shelled sea turtle. They are unique among sea turtles in that they are primarily herbivores, eating mostly seagrass and algae, although they may also eat sponges from time to time, as well as other invertebrates, and discarded fish if it's available. For the most part, they are still vegetarians. The name green sea turtle comes from the color of their fat, not their shells, which originally was attributed to their diet. However, sea turtles have greenish fat as well. Green turtles are found throughout the world. They nest in over 80 countries and live in the coastal areas of more than 140 countries. Green sea turtles, like all sea turtles, are reptiles and must surface to breathe. Adult female sea turtles return to land to lay their eggs on sandy beaches. They are remarkable navigators and usually return to a beach in the general area where they hatched. Green sea turtles migrate hundreds to thousands of miles each way between their foraging grounds and nesting beaches. They are solitary nighttime nesters. The life cycle of a green sea turtle involves a series of stages of development, from hatching to adulthood. After emerging from the nest, the hatchlings will swim offshore areas, where they live for several years in pelagic, open ocean, habitats. Juveniles eventually leave the open ocean habitat and travel to near shore foraging grounds in shallow coastal habitats, where they mature to adulthood and spend the remainder of their lives. Adults migrate every 2 to 5 years from their coastal foraging areas to the waters off the nesting beaches, where they originally hatched to reproduce. Green sea turtles are the only herbivorous species of sea turtle, and in the specific area of Turkey that I am currently in, the Aegean coastline, they actually come and nest very often in a certain area, which is protected. Now, unfortunately, even though it is protected, obviously the particularly old green sea turtles will sometimes pass away after they have laid their eggs, and it will cause their bodies to be washed up in the shoreline. And I've seen quite a couple of their bodies. It's always a little bit sad to see, but knowing that there are eggs nearby and they're going to hatch and the cycle will continue, it does help me be less sad about their passing away, because, you know, they've already laid their eggs. New ones are going to come. Next up, the leatherback sea turtle. The leatherback sea turtle is the largest turtle in the world. Now, you may be thinking, but Cosmic, wasn't the green sea turtle the largest? And you would be correct. Green sea turtles are the largest hard-shelled sea turtles. These, however, are the only species of sea turtle that lack scales and a hard shell. They are named for their tough, rubbery skin and have existed in their current form since the age of the dinosaurs. Leatherbacks are highly migratory, some of them swimming over 10,000 miles a year between nesting and foraging grounds. They are also accomplished divers, with the deepest recorded dive reaching nearly 4,000 feet deeper than most marine mammals. Quite impressive. The leatherback turtle has the widest global distribution of any reptile, with nesting mainly on tropical or subtropical beaches. The leatherback has a primarily black rubbery skin with pinkish white coloring on its underside. They are the only species of sea turtle that lack scales. Their shells, carapace, consists of small interlocking dermal bones beneath the skin that overlie a supportive layer of connective tissue and fat, and the deeper skeleton. Their carapace has several ridges along its length and taper to a blunt point. Their front flippers are primarily longer than in other sea turtles, and their back flippers are paddle-shaped. Both their rigid carapace and their large flippers make the leatherback uniquely equipped for long-distance foraging migrations. Leatherback sea turtles undertake the longest migration between breeding and feeding areas of any sea turtle, some averaging 3,700 miles each way. They spend most of their lives in the ocean, but females leave the water to lay eggs. Leatherbacks are strong swimmers. They can dive to depths of approximately 4,000 feet deeper than any other turtle, and can stay down there for up to 85 minutes. Leatherbacks lack the crushing beak characteristic of sea turtles that feed on hard-bodied prey. Instead, they have pointed tooth-like cusps and large-edged jaws, sharp-edged jaws, that are perfectly adapted for a diet of soft-bodied open ocean prey such as jellyfish and salps. A leatherback's mouth and throat also have backwards pointing spines that help retain gelatinous prey. The flatback turtle is named after its flat carapace, or shell, which is unlike curved shells of other sea turtle species. The carapace is pale grayish-green in color, with the other margins distinctly upturned. An adult flatback weighs around 200 pounds and is approximately 3 feet in length. They have the smallest distribution of all the species and breed, and nest only in Australia. Flatbacks are preyed upon by saltwater crocodiles, the largest reptile on Earth. Adult females have been observed being attacked by crocs while attempting to nest many times. Despite its small range and non-migratory behavior, until now this has been the least studied of the sea turtle species, perhaps due to, in part, to the remoteness of much of their habitats. And in fairness, they are in Australia, and Australia has so many incredibly interesting animals that it's easy to forget about the turtles. In comparison to other sea turtles, species that lay 100 to 200 eggs per nest, this species lays, on average, about 50 eggs per nest. Their eggs and hatchlings, however, are proportionately larger than other species, which may aid the hatchlings in evading predators and surviving. The flatback is an omnivore, feeding on a variety of prey including sea cucumbers, jellies, soft corals, shrimps, crabs, mollusks, fish, and seaweed. Now let's talk about the specimen here, the mata mata turtle. They can be found in northern South America, primarily in the Amazon and Orinoco rivers. They are about 1.5 feet long and weigh up to 38 pounds. Their diet consists of fish and other small animals. They live at the very bottom of the rivers and other shallow, slow-moving freshwaters. When it comes to living in river ecosystems, very few animals are as well adapted as the mata mata turtle. These nocturnal reptiles are perfectly camouflaged for their murky freshwater surroundings. And like many turtles, they can hold their breath for very long periods of time. When mata matas need to breathe, they have a unique edge. Their narrow snouts are essentially built-in snorkels. They can lift to the surface to sip in some air and then go back. Also, it has to be said, No other turtle looks as bizarre and unmistakable as the mata-mata, with the exception of the snapping turtle. Speaking of which, the snapping turtle. The snapping turtle is named after its method of biting. Snapping turtles are found continuously in North America, from eastern Canada and New England to the Rockies. And they are also found in pockets of Mexico and Central America to Ecuador. Snapping turtles are noted for their large size and aggressive nature. They are usually tan to black in color and have a rough upper shell, a small cross-shaped lower shell, a long tail, and a large head with hooked jaws. The females in both species lays clutches of about 20 to 40 eggs. The young, at hatching, have shells about 2.5 centimeters, 1.15 inches long. The snapping turtle itself is a large turtle ranging in size from about 8 to 13 inches, 20 centimeters to 35 centimeters. Now, you may understandably be thinking, why are snapping turtles so aggressive? Well, about that. Although snapping turtles may defend themselves when they feel threatened, like any other living being, and look very mean in appearance and behavior, they are by no means super aggressive, and will not attack or bite people or pets unless they are purposefully provoked or cornered or made to fear. In water, they are actually less aggressive, usually retreating or withdrawing when confronted by a large animal. But obviously, if you step right next to it, well, of course it's gonna get startled and bite you. When it comes to tortoises, there are at least 49 living species spread across 15 different genera. So there are many different individual scientific names, and it would be very overwhelming for a beginner to go with all of them. So I will intentionally talk about some of the coolest ones, but would highly recommend that you take a look at other species on your own free time. And also, I actually live amongst a big chunk of the tortoises that I'm going to talk about here. In fact, say hi.
This right here is Goldie. This is our guest. Now, something very cool that you may not know is that despite their shells being very hard, because it's for protection, they can actually still feel through their shell. For example, when I do this, it can actually feel that. That's because inside of that shell there are a lot of blood vessels that allow it to be able to actually feel me touching its shell. It can feel that because there are enough blood vessels and other tissues there that would allow it to be able to feel. Now, I'll also give him a cucumber, because maybe he would like a cucumber more. Let's see if we can actually catch him eating. Now, don't worry, although he's probably a little bit confused and a little bit worried as to why the hell he's here right now, we will put him back in just a moment. He has his own designated area. I will put him back there in just a moment. When you look at him this closely, you tend to realize how ancient they actually are by the way that their bodies are. On its arms there are a bunch of osteoderms that look as if it's spiked. It has tiny little claws that does help it dig. Not too good at self-defense, but it's good for digging when it is needed. And look at his head generally. It's almost like looking at a miniature, weird-looking ankylosaur almost. Which makes sense considering that turtles are actually about as ancient as some dinosaurs are. They aren't a new species by any means. They've been around for a very long time. Oh, where are you going, Goldie? Wow. They're just amazing creatures. They're so beautiful.
Yeah, you're back. Here you go. This shall be good compensation for the process of helping me out in recording. Yeah, go ahead, it's all yours. Oh yeah, he likes it. Or she, I have no idea.
Now you probably have a pretty fair question of, is Goldie my pet? Like my second pet? No. Goldie is actually a wild tortoise that comes in and out whenever he feels like it. I even got a little ramp set up for him to easily be able to get up and down. And, well, he's a wild Aegean tortoise. He just comes in and out whenever he feels like it. I give him food every now and then, and I think that's why he intentionally comes and goes. But like, when I see him, I give him a little bit of lettuce, maybe some tomatoes and such. And then like, that's about it really. Thank you very much to Goldie for being so cooperative despite being a wild tortoise. Like, I was not expecting him to be that cooperative, which is why I was always like, being very careful when handling him, being as gentle as I can to not scare him. And yeah, it was pretty cooperative.
Shelly is a Greek tortoise, also known as an Aegean tortoise. I absolutely love these guys, mainly because I actually get to interact with them regularly. For those of you who don't know, I work in Turkey, and when the summer season is over, I go back to the UK. So whenever I'm back in Turkey, I get to see and interact with these cool tortoises pretty much every day, since they can be found in Turkey, Greece, North Africa, Southern Europe, and Southwest Asia. They are a small species of tortoise, ranging from about 5 inches in adult size for the smaller subspecies, and up to 12 inches for the larger ones. They eat thistles, flowers, grasses, and weeds, and other vegetation. If you give them some lettuce, cabbage, tomatoes, they'll definitely take a bite out of it.